Once upon a time, there was a redhead called Red. Red was a lonely being because he was the only redhead in town, or so he thought. As the years went by, he wondered whether he would ever meet another creature who also had red hair. But one day, Red got tired of waiting for friends like him, so he decided to use his brain and his heart to actively seek out any other redheads around him. First, he decided he needed to work with the most commonly found trees in his city. If I could only see what all these trees see, he thought to himself, I might have a better chance of finding others who are like me. And so, Red acquired the rights to the following trees: the white oak tree, the red maple tree, and his personal favorite, the weeping willow tree. He then had a conversation with all the white oak, red maple, and weeping willow trees he could find, and entrusted them each with a specific story to tell. When people walked by the trees, their phones would beep, and they would be given a choice. When passing the white oak trees on their daily commutes to work, school, or just breakfast, each passerby would be prompted. When passing the red maple trees, each passerby would be told a different story on their phone. And when passing by the weeping willows, each passerby would yet again discover a different story. And so Red deployed his little experiment in the city, and after 1 month, Red looked at the data from his trees and discovered something that made him happier than he ever imagined. Not only were there other redheads, but he discovered that 10% of his city's population actually had red hair. But Red learned even more than that. Of those 10% red-headed brethren, 10% had blue eyes. And of those 10%, only 10% were red-headed, blue-eyed lefties. But that wasn't even the end of his findings. Shockingly, Red also realized that not all redheads are real redheads. Some of them just colored their hair red because they liked it. And the data kept coming and coming and coming, and before he knew it, Red was learning about way more than redheads. Some things he wasn't even looking for. Like, for instance, he learned that 11% of the Swiss bankers in his city love Game of Thrones. He learned that 38% of his parents' friends read the news at least once a day. And many more intriguing pieces of data came to enlighten Red's mind and his view of the world. And that's when he realized the most important lesson of all. Knowledge might indeed equal power, but power, without knowing who and what is really around you, is a very lonely and limited power to have. And that's how Red the Redhead wound up at the hairdresser one morning. Now that you see I did put a lot of thought into it, can you please just dye my hair purple? Which is how Red met the love of his life, Violet, a lovely being he'd never have met if he hadn't first tamed his fears and befriended the big and scary data giant. So remember, if your world feels a bit too boring and lonely, call your friends at Prosperity IP. You will be surprised at what we can see.